I'm curious if you can say more about your latest episode. You mentioned something like how price drop is actually really bad for the economy. What does that mean?
So thanks for mentioning and plugging the primary source China investment YouTube channel that Pengguo and I have done for the past 3 years. I had a long career in China and was managing Chinese denominated assets on the mainland in Shanghai beginning in 2008. What that means is prices that are going down, it sounds great. Well,
Yeah.
sure, who doesn't want cheaper stuff? The problem with that is it delays consumption, which means consumers will say, well, I'm not going to buy today because the price is just going to go down tomorrow. So this deflationary pressure puts off consumption, in turn makes manufacturers cut prices. And if anybody watching who's ever been to China, they know price is a very powerful tonic.
Mm.
So prices keep going down, manufacturers continue to be ruthless in terms of competition. That leads to what we said this week in our show was China needs more bankruptcies. As long as companies go under, then they'll have some pricing pressure because right now, as soon as I make anything, I make a new phone or I make a new iPod, iPad, whatever,
Yeah.
a lot of people are going to jump in, more manufacturers. So this increased competition, it's great for the consumer,
Yeah.
but it does have a bigger cyclical effect when there's supply side dominance. You're seeing that in China now.
Mm. Mm.
Does
Thanks
that make
for
does that make sense?
I'm not really, but it helps me to learn a little bit.
Just think of it as the opposite of inflation, right? We in the
Mm.
US we had a big bout with inflation and people have less purchasing power.
Yeah.
The inverse to that is, sure, I have more purchasing power, but I then stop purchasing because prices keep going down. And when prices keep going
Mm.
down, and China's great at that, there's always this sort of race to the bottom,
Mm.
but that has a longer term effect, which means China is an export nation. So China continues to make more and more product,
Yeah.
which means prices continue to go down and down and down. So this
Yeah.
sort of economic phenomenon is what China's in right now.
That's kind of odd. I don't think I've heard that before. So thank you.
Yeah, deflation is a
It's
phenomenon,
real.
definitely.
Yeah.
It's very real. It's very real.